I thought to give a few kind of talks about the precept of stealing in particular and the use of property in general. Venerable Tarpa brought it up that when she was in the Chinese nunnery, that they considered abusing or misusing community property as a branch of stealing. And recently I was reading the commentary on the precepts by one Tibetan Geshe, and the same point came up. And so I also remember in my training the whole idea of community property is a very delicate one. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about that over a few days, and about different aspects of taking what is not given in general. In terms of community property, if we, when we stay here, we have the ability to use different things that are shared by the community: the water, the electricity, the plates, the dishes, the soap, all these, the condiments, all these things that are out. However, if we don't take proper care of them, and we take more than is actually suitable, for example, if we leave the lights on, when there's nobody in the room, if we turn up the heating way too high or leave the heat on when it doesn't need to be on, then we're abusing the Sangha property, and that can be a form of stealing. So it requires great care on our part. Even if we're doing some work, we're cleaning or something, if we just put a whole ton of soap on when it only needs a little bit, so wasting things that belong to the community. Yeah. So this is one that's really, we have to be very careful of, because it's really easy to do. Because we're all working with community property, and if we don't take good care of something, and so something that should have lasted for 1 year, because we don't take good care of it, only lasts for 6 months, or it should have lasted for 10 years, but we don't take good care of it, it only lasts for 2 years, then that is misusing the property and is a fault of stealing, because we're taking what hasn't been given to us. And this one's very delicate, because often when we come to a community or a place where there's a group living situation, then we think, well, this doesn't belong to me, it belongs to the institution, so I can use it however I want, And so, for example, when deciding what things to buy, we may not look at the prices very well, because it's not our money and we just figure somebody else is paying for it. So this is also misusing the property, and it's a fault of stealing. So, we really have to check prices and, make sure we get things that are economical and not just buy whatever. Make sure that we use the right amount of stuff. If you need something, you need to use enough, don't, if something needs to be washed, use the right amount of soap, But if we're like using things in a reckless, careless way, And so I think this also comes into the thing of when we go into town, because we have a policy here of only going into town when we have a number of collected errands to do. So if we go in when we don't need to go in, or if we go in and then we forget something, so somebody has to go in the next day, then this also is being, is mindlessly using property that doesn't belong to us, that belongs to the community. So really thinking about, you know, when we think we have to go into town and making sure that we have to, when we go, collect all the errands, make a list, complete them all unless we can't. So really taking care of things that belong to the community rather than just thinking it doesn't belong to me, so whatever. And I remember seeing this one time very clearly when I was the Dharma teacher at a center, and we were inviting a teacher and a translator to come, and one person just got this one flight for like $650 that could have been easily purchased for $400, but they just thought, well, I want them to come into the airport at 12 o'clock rather than 11 o'clock and, you know, spend $250 because it wasn't their money anyway. So this is not a suitable way to think. It actually comes under the precept of stealing. So it's something to be quite attentive to and quite aware of how we use the property that belongs to the community.